You know, when an animal passes, it's just so difficult. Hello, my garden friends. Welcome to my Sunday morning backyard garden tour. I'm super excited for today's video because I'm going to introduce you to our newest surprise family member. But first, let me just show you what's going on in my garden. This is going to be a very quick garden tour because we're coming to the end of the season. And I think my garden is saying, I'm tired, put me to rest. However, look at my beautiful Gaura. The interesting thing about this is it's got hot pink colors and then it's got these long light pink wands. This is also known as the wand flower or the fairy flower or butterfly, but I just love the way it's so whimsical, the way it dances in the wind. If you've never grown Gaura, I highly recommend it. It's drought tolerant, and because I'm in California Zone 9B and it's doing this well for me, this might be suited for a lot of gardens. And over here, thankfully, the most wonderful flower I grew this year is my Petunia Vista bubblegum. This is still blooming for me. I can't believe it. But I will be the first to admit, had I not saturated it with that BT spray, it would not look this good. And this isn't even the initial spring show. I mean, it looks this good in fall. But if you want to grow petunias in your garden, this gets attacked with those budworms, and I hated spraying it with that BT, even though they say it's organic. I'm not sure I'm going to grow it next year because I really don't like spraying anything in my garden. The leaf cutter bees are actually using the flower blossoms as their nesting material. So the last thing I want to do is spray it with BT, knowing that the leaf cutter bees are using that. So at this point, I'm not spraying it anymore. I'm just going to let nature do whatever nature's going to do. We're coming to the end of the season anyway, so I don't expect it to last forever. My salvia did pretty good. This area doesn't get full sun, so I think it could do better, but I'm not going to complain. I love the way the salvia kind of pops up through the Petunia Vista bubblegums. Inside this stacked tire is a little miniature rose I got when I worked as a courtesy clerk at a grocery store. They had a floral department and I picked that up for like $1.25. And it's doing nice. I think my zinnias are done. I have 2 plants left, 1 and 2. And they're not really producing new blooms. So I think after today's garden tour, I'm probably going to take those out. My beautiful Silver Falls dichondra looks amazing. But like I said in last week's garden tour, I think I'm going to remove these stacked tires and maybe put whiskey barrels in there. I think I'm kind of done with the tires. And there is my beautiful cat, Cookie. She's the only cat I have left, and I'm going to tell you all about that when I introduce you to the newest member of our family. But I did lose a couple, and I'm going to tell you all about that. It's heartbreaking but very hopeful at the same time. My bougainvillea, all the bracts, this is like the 5th time it bloomed. But I kind of think it's done unless it surprises me and blooms again, which I wouldn't put it past it. So what happens is after it's done, the bracts just kind of fall and I rake them up and I use them as compost in my garden. My friend Lynette from Garden 1842, I think that's the year, and home, said it's like pink mulch. Yes, Lynette, it's like pink mulch. Pink is her favorite color too. So yeah, my bougainvillea, I think it's done. But once again, look at my beautiful Petunia Vista bubblegum. You know, I'm sure you watch other garden channels just like I do with our morning coffee or tea. I love it. And the Petunia Vista bubblegum, you keep hearing it over and over again for a very good reason. I mean, look at this. It just performs so well for me in my garden, with the exception that you got to use that BT spray. Otherwise, it's toast. But look at my beautiful, beautiful chartreuse green sweet potato vine. This thing is off the hook. One of my viewers said it looked like a bridal veil. Isn't that the truth? I will definitely grow this right in this vintage bathtub here again next year. You can't even tell it's in a bathtub. I mean, you can't even see the bathtub. Just look at that. I had to move my patio chairs. Inside the center of the bathtub, I have a citrus lantana. Once the season's over and the petunias are gone and the chartreuse green potato vine, the lantana will be able to spread out more. I only put the petunia and sweet potato vine here as a filler until the lantana got big, and oh man, the fillers definitely filled out nicely. And over here is my fairy garden. I am painting another door that's going to go right next to the blue one. So that'll fill in that spot where you just see kind of bare wood. But oh my goodness, my vincas really performed so well for me this year. It's going to be so sad to see them go. And over here is my succulent propagation station with some new additions, the little birdies I got at the thrift store. I absolutely love them. I just made a video about that. I'll leave a link in the description below. But I get all my bird houses at the thrift store, and the cute little birdies, little chickadees, a robin redbreast, a bluebird, who knows? They're just super cute. My favorite is the string of pearls and the string of pickles. A lot of people don't realize this, but succulents make the most beautiful flowers. They're very small and inconspicuous, but nevertheless, they are beautiful. And the pollinators like them too. Down there is my lily turf underneath the white Natchez crepe myrtle tree. That's all done blooming. A solar water fountain with 2 clematis growing up the arbor, although they didn't perform too well for me this year. That's okay, you know, every year is different. What works one year may not work the next year, and that's just life and nature. Now I'm in the front of my backyard garden. I call this area the center. This is the center iron plant stand that somebody actually handcrafted from rebar. And they were throwing this device away. A friend of mine picked it up and brought it to me, and I couldn't be more pleased. Inside the pots are my beautiful and faithful vinca with creeping Jenny hanging down. I wouldn't be surprised if it actually reaches the ground before winter hits. Look at that. And over in these pots, more vinca with an aster. My marigolds did not do very well for me this year at all. But look at my friends, my beautiful wave petunias are blooming again. I cannot believe it. I cut them all the way back thinking they were done for the season. And surprise, surprise, wave petunias came back again. Beautiful and so vibrant. I've always considered my cottage garden to be a fun feature in my garden, but honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed to even show you. The marigolds, I'm getting ready to rip them all out. If I shake them, there's tons of white flies, maybe white flies, not spider mites. And I've sprayed them down and hosed them down, and that really, really helped. But I think the white flies won. So yeah, they just didn't do good. They just didn't do good for me this year. I would love to know your experience with marigolds this year, because when you tell me what works and doesn't work in your garden, that really helps me to know, and it kind of makes me feel better. For example, if your marigolds aren't doing good and then you hear me talk about how mine aren't doing good, doesn't that kind of just make you feel better to know that you didn't fail it? It's just the way it is this season. So please share your experiences with me. I check all my emails. I love hearing from you, and I love corresponding with you and talking all things garden. So yeah, my cottage garden definitely is not looking its best right now. Okay, and this is my narrow space vegetable garden. I'm growing chili peppers, lunchbox orange peppers, Lots of okra, and the flowers are just so pretty on the okra. Yeah, my narrow space vegetable garden is 3 feet 4 inches wide, and now that we're coming into the cooler season, I'm going to plant some broccoli back there too. It just goes to show that even if you have limited space, you can still grow something. Just grow vertical. And of course, my little scarecrow garden. That's Freya the farmer. I named Freya after Robbie's dog from Visit Our Garden. His dog is named Freya, so I just thought that would be fun, and my viewers named the lamb Lottie the lamb and Petunia the pig. I'm gonna remove the bale of hay and put a fresh one in for next season, and I'm probably gonna dress Freya in different clothes as well. That's the fun thing. I can just change her up whenever I want. But now I need to introduce you to my precious new furry friend, the new addition to my family and my garden. I think I'm gonna need to get a tissue though, because what I'm about to tell you is so sad. The reason why I'm gonna share this story is because it's just amazing how God works in our lives. So about 3 weeks ago, I lost 2 cats, my precious Tommy and my precious Lucky. If you've been watching my videos, you knew that last year Tommy was so thin. He did so bad in the heat. So I thought I was gonna lose him last year. I'm not gonna go into the details, but I'm just letting you know that if you don't see him in my garden, it's because they're not here anymore. They're buried underneath my kumquat tree. They were both very, very old. They didn't die of anything related that we don't think. One had a respiratory disease, Tommy did, and Lucky died of kidney failure, which was absolutely horrible to see. I had Tommy on antibiotics, but that didn't work. So anyway, so they're gone. So I was telling my husband, John, I'm only down to 2 chickens too. You know, when an animal passes, it's just so difficult. I think I mourn harder for an animal, more so than a human. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's the truth. I'm down to 2 chickens now. So I was telling John, I'm so done with animals. When these animals pass, I don't want any more. I don't want any more animals. I just don't want any more animals. Well, God said, nope, you're not done. So let me just explain how God works. And you could call it a coincidence. I call these God incidences. I had a dentist appointment scheduled not for another week. Coincidentally, my dentist calls and said, hey Liz, can you come in tomorrow? Which would have been a few days ago, a week early. I said, sure, why not? So as I'm sitting in the chair getting the work done, I have a hard time with going to the dentist. I don't mind the shot, but everything else. So I was just praying, saying, God, just please bless the hands of the dentist and the lady worker. And I was just visualizing angels all around me, just protecting me. So that's over and done with. We're not going to get into that. You certainly don't need to hear about my dentistry experience. As I'm leaving and walking out to my car, there's a little kitten in the middle of the parking lot crying, all alone, completely abandoned. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it has a mother or siblings. I didn't want to just take it away from its family. So I go back into the dental office to ask them, and the doors are locked. They already went to lunch. So I'm looking at this kitten just meowing and crying. The rest is history. You know what I did. I picked it up and took it home. And I'm looking at this little kitten. It can't be more than a couple weeks old. And I named it Angel. Didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. I took a picture and called my daughter and I said, look at this little kitten I just found. And you know what she said? My daughter said, I can't believe I'm crying so much. She said, Mom, that's an angel. She didn't know I named it Angel. So I took it home. This is a couple days ago. This cat is the most affectionate cat I've ever had in my entire life. Here I think I'm done with animals, and God says, nope, got one more for you. So let me wipe my face, compose myself, and introduce you to Angel. So this is my sweet baby Angel. Look at how little he is. He's a little boy, but I don't care because angels are boys anyway. How old do you think he is? I'm thinking like maybe 2 weeks. He's just so tiny. This is his first time out here in the backyard. I just woke him up from a nap. What a sweet little baby, isn't he? God has a way of knowing what we need when we don't even know it, or when we don't think it. Not a coincidence. And another way that I love the way God works is when God does something, He multiplies it. He uses things for multiple purposes. When He blesses a person, other people get blessed or other things happen. He just doesn't do one thing. He does one thing and then it has a ripple effect. So not only is little Angel going to bring me joy, but he got rescued. He gets a good home. That's how God works, because God knew I wasn't just going to leave him out there in the parking lot. So you get to meet Angel, and you heard my story. I was very transparent. I let you see me cry like a blubbering baby. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's garden tour and meeting Angel. And you have so many videos to look forward to as Angel grows and progresses and adds lots of love and joy to my garden. Thanks for watching.